Yeah, Josh Champion. Very good to be sitting with you, creator of Beta Cache.
Yeah.
And yeah, maybe you could just like kind of introduce yourself first and tell us a little bit about your background.
Sure. Yeah, I'm Josh. I'm from Sacramento originally. I grew up, spent most of my youth there and climbing in Tahoe and Bishop and Yosemite and things like that. Went to school in the Bay Area and then continued on with med school up in Portland. Lived there for 4 or 5 years and then went out to Denver for 4 years. And then now I'm back in Portland. Been climbing since, gosh, I don't know, since I was like 12 or 13 or something like that. So 20 plus years. And part of the big reason that I like went out to Colorado was like to try and take it more seriously and see how I could push it and things like that. Had a good time, enjoyed it. I have a wife, 2 kids, 2 dogs. I'm an anesthesiologist. Yeah, that's me.
Busy, busy guy, it sounds like.
Ish, yeah. Life is better now. It's in residency training and things like that. It's in med school and residency. It's very busy. And now I have the luxury of having a little bit more schedule. So yeah.
So then just tell me kind of like when did you first have the idea of Beta Cache and how did it kind of begin?
Yeah. So when I was, oh gosh, this must have been, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago or something like that, I was getting into climbing on the moon board. And I remember climbing on the mood board and just being like, oh, it would be really helpful to like be able to see beta for these climbs. This was before like a Kilter board and intention board where you can just go into the app and see all the videos there. This was like very, very early on. And I had kind of started dabbling in coding for a little bit, just as for like some side projects and things like that. And so I put together like a database of moonboard climbs because like there were all these videos on Instagram, but there was no catalog of them. And so I kind of put them in a site and put them all together with the idea of sharing it, specifically with my friends who climbed on the moonboard in other places as a way to like, hey, like, look, here's me doing this climb, here's you doing this climb, so on and so forth. But also with the public at large. But then I reached out to Ben Moon and said like, hey, look, I kind of put this together. What do you think? And he was like, please take this down. I don't want you like we're doing something similar. Please don't like we're working on a very similar thing. Can you just like please take it down? And I was like, oh, okay. So I kind of abandoned that. Well, I started cataloging the climbs that I wanted to do in Colorado and trying to keep track of all the videos I would find. Because what would happen is I would go on Instagram and I would see a cool climb and I'd be like, oh, that's really cool. Like I should do that. And then a month or two later, I would try and remember what that climb was and whose profile I'd seen it on and how to get to it. And like inevitably I would forget. And so I started having like just an Excel spreadsheet of like, here's the climb I want to try. And every time I would see a video of it, I would just add a tab in there of like, or add a link in there. And then so I kind of eventually realized that this wasn't, it was good, but it wasn't great. And it would be nicer if it could be like in a nice catalog or database or something for people to search. So I kind of combined those two ideas and said, okay, well, instead of doing this just for the moonboard, I'll just do it for outdoor climbs because I think that'll be helpful for people who are just trying to, find a new climb and go. They want the beta for it. They don't want to have to like spend too much time, or they want to see what a climb looks like before they got there. And so that was kind of where the idea started. And I put it all together and it was awful at first. Was terrible at coding, but eventually iterations on iterations kind of got better and better. And so kind of got it to a functional state that it's at now. In the interim, I handed it off to someone because I got too busy with med school and residency to keep it up. And someone kind of just held on to it for a little while. And then I had some more time later and I decided to take it back up. And so I reached back out to them and they transferred it back to me and was able to kind of redo a lot of it and I think make it into a little more functional and a little more streamlined process. So that's where I've been at. But I just haven't had the time in the last like year and a half to really keep it up because it's just kind of it's one of those things that there's no end to it. Like there are thousands of videos posted every day for climbing beta, and as soon as you stop like putting those on there, you're falling behind. And I didn't have the time to just keep up single handedly. So
So every time someone like a user submitted a beta video, you were kind of like manually approving. Wow.
yeah, so I would say 80% of the submissions were just done by me. Like I would just do it myself because it was easier that way. But everything that got submitted, I would check over and make sure that like because the issue was like someone would submit a video that would say, okay, it has this climb in it, but it's a 15-minute video that also has these other climbs, and they just logged the one climb in it. And then that gets hard because someone goes to view the beta for that and it just drops them in at like zero, the start of the video, and they're like, where is this? And so I would have to go through and kind of make sure that they had actually tagged it at the right times, that there were other climbs that were in there, and just doing a lot of quality control, which took a lot of time. But yeah,
Wow.
definitely was proofing every single submission.
Yeah. Well, first of all, yeah, thank you, because it's
Yeah.
definitely a labor of love. And like
Yeah.
I have used Beta Cache over the years many times, and
Good.
I've noticed that like it's time stamped, and it's
Yeah.
really, really nice that it's time stamped. So
Yeah. I tried to keep up with that. I got to a point where I think I had I think I just flagged it as like any video over 5 minutes, I think is probably gonna have multiple climbs in it. So I'd like review all those manually. And I think I got to a point where I had all of them checked, but I've since fallen behind. So there's probably some on there that aren't.
wow. Yeah, that's incredible. And would you say that like Colorado area where you were living at the time is kind of like the most built out in terms of the beta quality, or is it kind of dispersed at this point?
It's interesting because like I mean yeah because I used a lot of those and so like inevitably I would go through and just like find people's profiles that I liked and that I was using like checking them out and I would just oh here's a new one I'll just log all their videos real quick and so it worked that it kind of ended up that way and there's a lot of places that I knew well so like Bishop, Leavenworth, like local Colorado area things like that but then also just like these random like profiles or whatever you'd find and it's just like oh this is this dude climbing in Alberta or something. And I'm like, well, I'm going to have to get to it eventually. I might as well do it. So there's like these little pockets that are like very well developed of like, oh, I found a profile that has hundreds of videos from this one area. I'm just going to catalog them real quick. And so I would put those in there. But then, yeah, most of the stuff is in the highly concentrated areas, but there's a lot of little random things that it's just like, how did this end up on here? And it's just because I down a wormhole one day, found someone's profile who had a lot of videos for that and put them all in there. So,
Yeah. Wow, that's great. Yeah, I feel like I've been in a very similar mentality the last few months. So typically like with Kaya, and I don't know how familiar you are with Kaya or if you've
but
used it,
yeah,
but you know, we had like this base data set that was okay. You know, it was a lot of user submitted content. And so it was like akin to kind of like an 8A or a mountain project in terms of quality. And then we've since been kind of like going zone by zone and in most cases working with existing guidebook authors to kind of like bring it up to what we call verified, which
yeah,
means all the pins are in there, it's accurate, everything is kind of like really clean and well done. And we've kind of just been going zone by zone. But then more recently, I realized that like just having an accurate list of climbs with beta video is like a very beneficial thing for these areas that do not yet have an author. And so
mhm,
I've been going through our system and kind of like cross-referencing with all the various web resources to just make a comprehensive climb list and then have been linking in beta videos, or even in some cases with existing guidebooks, which we've kind of like gotten verified. Many of them didn't have any beta videos associated with them yet. So I was kind of pouring through all of our older guides and linking the beta videos in manually as well. And it's like a very satisfying process to kind of like fill it all out and have it
yeah,
all complete. And so I've been kind of like thinking of climbs or thinking of zones late at night and like getting out my computer and working
yeah.
late into the night and it's like a never ending quest but it's very and it can be very tedious but it's there's something so satisfying about like finding that obscure old Vimeo
Yeah,
edit that you know you saw in 2012 or whatever and
exactly.
linking it in and then it's like cool it's eternally
It's
linked
there.
there
Yeah.
forever you know unless of course you know you have folks like Jimmy Webb's old Vimeo, like most of those videos got pulled down. And so
Yeah.
I like with Kaya, we we do allow like users to add external beta videos, but it's somewhat hidden in the UX. And I think I might make a post just showing people how to do it, especially now that we're doing this transition
Yeah.
but we kind of encourage folks to upload it themselves into the app. So then it's like, well, one, folks can download the video in the app when they are out in the field using the guidebook, which is a really nice feature. But also it's like protected from these external measures of
Yeah.
deleting their account or something getting pulled out for copyright, you know.
Yeah. And that was one of the issues that I like kind of, I mean, we've obviously had run into a lot of the same issues doing this, but it's like, it's just the quality control. So it's like, from my standpoint, even if I go through and verify and make an area perfect in a day or two, someone might make their videos private or pull them down or something. And now that area is now behind because like you have a bunch of links that don't work in there. And that was really frustrating from my standpoint. And then I had a couple people, interestingly, early on, I haven't had it so much recently since I think has become more kind of I don't know, well known or whatever. But early on, I had people being like, "Hey, I don't want my videos on your site. Like, take these down." Because I think some of them thought I was like actually downloading their videos and then like reposting them. They didn't realize it was just links. And B, I think it just, I don't know, it felt a little weird for them to have them on there. So I ran into several people who asked me to take them down and or made their profiles private, which obviously caused issues as well. Cause now again, you have a bunch of links that don't work anymore. So it's like you can put in all this work to curate an area really well, but is as soon as you stop keeping it up to date, it's already behind, which was kind of why I am happier to hand this off to someone who with more manpower and more time to handle it. So
yeah. And I guess just like if we do end up publishing this, it's worth noting that like, yeah, we are transitioning Beta Cache to Kaya. And maybe you can kind of speak to like why you kind of felt like that was the right decision for you.
yeah, so like I've mentioned a couple times, it's just this is a project that there is no end. Like this isn't just some tool that you can publish online or something like even a guidebook. It's like you put together the guidebook and generally like things are going to change, yeah, but for the most part that guidebook's going to be good for a while. You can kind of put it in the back of your mind and move away. This site unfortunately just it's every day there's more videos posted, every day things are changing, every day profiles are coming down or going up or things like that just it's impossible to keep up with all of the videos posted every day for every climb in the world. It's just impossible, and especially as a single person doing that. So like I tried to come up with various solutions to help automate the process, things like auto scrapers and using like AI to parse captions and try and get like, oh, which climbs are in this and which climbs are not. And even if I could just separate it as like, okay, I scraped 1,000 videos today, and here's 500 of them that I can just get rid of automatically because I'm just the AI has parsed it and just there's no climbing in there, and that at least would help the workload. But it just wasn't terribly successful with getting anything that worked terribly well. Everything was either like too many false positives or too many true whatever, too many wrong way. They would either get rid of too much or let through too much to the point where you're either missing good quality stuff or you're having to prune out. Like I mean there are random climbs on Beta Cache where you go on and it's just like a bunch of like car videos from like a car salesman or something, like because the keywords of that video just happened to line up with something on YouTube and it said, hey, I think this is a match, and it scrapes it for me. And I have to go through and like prune all those. So it was just a lot of work. And so I liked what it had become, but every day that I wasn't maintaining it felt like I was letting it down a little bit. And so from that standpoint, it just got to be a little bit of a burden from my standpoint. And so I am very happy to hand it off to someone who's going to have more, or a group that's going to have more time and effort and energy and ability to maintain it to like a higher standard that I would hope it would be.
Yeah, that makes sense that you've faced those challenges when trying to automate it. And I kind of wondered how it was done. And I don't know if you've seen this platform that's popped up, Mad Boulder, which seems to
I've seen it before, yeah.
they are like downloading people's videos and re-uploading them. And I don't know like if there's permission being granted for that or how they're kind of doing it, because it seems like they're doing it at a pretty mass scale. But yeah, I mean, we're really excited to kind of like take over the reins and do our best to
Yeah.
make just a really accurate, comprehensive data.
Yeah. Hopefully you guys can come up with some either novel solutions or just better ways to streamline the process. Instagram in particular was, I'm sure you've figured out, but Instagram in particular was a giant pain in the butt because like they don't allow any scraping. They don't allow like if you try and do anything automated, they like flag your account and suspend it. And there were several times where my account got suspended and I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. So Instagram was done largely by hand. I did find some ways to slightly get around it, but either way, it's they don't make the process easy on you, and that was super frustrating as well.
Yeah, totally. And yeah, we're kind of just like hoping that, and what we've seen over time as kind of Kaya is gaining more credibility and we're getting more of these official guides and people are kind of seeing the utility of it, is more and more people are uploading their videos directly to Kaya.
Yeah.
What is pretty nice is that, we don't really see Kaya so much as like a social media platform as much as like this logging platform and database. And so we're seeing climbers and I, myself included, like things that wouldn't normally make it to the gram, so to speak. I'm just kind of like uploading all of the videos that I happen to take on a given climbing day, whether it's like, my warm up or my mega project.
Yeah.
That data is then very valuable for someone who may be climbing, V3 at their limit to see a variety of betas on a climb that otherwise kind of wouldn't get highlighted in
Yeah, exactly. It's like you
Instagram.
don't need production quality stuff. You just need you just need beta. And like so yeah, that's you're missing out on if you're just grabbing the stuff from Instagram and YouTube, you're probably missing out on a huge chunk of what's out there just because not everybody's going to upload to everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I thought about having the ability to upload the videos, but it just the data, the cost of storage and managing that and stuff, it just that again was just a little overwhelming. So it's good that you guys already have that system in place and can utilize that because I think that's going to be ultimately better off in the long term. I just didn't have the capacity to handle that.
Yeah. 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 Totally makes sense. Yeah. So I guess I'm also just kind of curious, like, did you make any like interesting connections with other climbers through the website or like find yourself booking a trip to go climb some boulder that you saw a video uploaded? Like you've seen so many climbs now through this
Yeah.
process. Like has that kind of informed like how you maybe approach your own climbing?
Oh, for sure. I mean, those were like my favorite finds when people would upload stuff was like, oh, this is in an area that I know and I didn't know this climb existed. And that's like the best when you're like, oh, this is in Leavenworth and I didn't even know about this climb. Like, I'm gonna go out and try this now. And so there was definitely stuff like that. And then I did meet several people that I mean I people who like a lot of coders, programmers are climbers too, and there's a lot of overlap in that community. So I did meet a decent amount of people that way. I didn't really make it well known that that's who I was or anything. I don't know why. I just didn't. I wanted it to be a tool. I didn't want it to be anything from like connected to me. I just wanted it to be out there. So not too much of that. But yeah, definitely a lot of like going through areas and finding new climbs. And I found myself actually like the way that I refined the site was I would go on kind of doing a UX experiment, not like, but just my own, like if I'm going to a new area and I'm trying to find new climbs, how am I going to do it? And I would go on there and try and do that and be like, is this streamlined? Does this work well? And if not, how can I make it better sort of thing? So yeah, I mean, I would go through and find new climbs and kind of make my list of what to climb based on there. I'll pretty much for every trip. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And do you have any like what are you psyched on in climbing right now? Are you kind of more focused on your career and family at this time, or do you still have some like ambitious climbing goals?
Yeah, so there's a couple climbs in the gorge that me and a buddy here are trying to finish up, but they're sport climbs. So I dabbled with the idea of trying to broaden this to sport climbs, but ultimately decided it wasn't worth it. So, anyways, so that's not on there. But then Leavenworth has there's kind of this I don't know 3 or 4 climbs that are like classic at the double digits. So there's like beautification, turbulence, teacup, and primrose step, which are like 11, 12, 13, and 14. So we're trying to put those together. And he's like building simulators and crazy things like that for these. So taking it kind of seriously, but those would be, I guess, long-term goals. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, beautification in particular, I know has quite a few different beta options.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah.
that'll come in handy. Okay, cool. Well, yeah, I don't know if I have any other distinct questions, but it's been really awesome to chat
Yeah.
about it. And I don't know if you have any questions from like the perspective of Kaya and kind of what we're trying to do or anything like that.
More just I don't know if this will be anything useful for you, but I was just more curious, like how are you guys going to handle or what's your approach for handling? Because I guess when I was building this site, I knew like Kaya, I'm not sure when you guys cropped up, but at some point I like realized, oh hey, this looks very similar to like what we're doing. But the big distinction between us two was that you guys were doing like a much more curated, like a guidebook style. And so in my mind, I was like, well, I'm just gonna like I just want to catalog all the climbs and all the beta and call it good there. And I'll let like and Kaya is doing this separate thing where they're like, okay, putting it into a guidebook and putting it into like geotagging and things like that, or like GPS and stuff. Are you guys, I guess, what's the plan for climbs that you guys are probably never going to make a guidebook for? So if like some random area in the middle of nowhere that's like, oh hey, here's 3 climbs here. This isn't never going to warrant a guidebook, but like, what are we going to do with these videos? Like, do you
Yeah.
guys have thoughts on that?
Yeah, totally. I mean, ultimately our goal is to have like for everything that's public land, accessible, like good access, we ultimately want to kind of have all of that
Yeah.
in the system with the highest quality kind of like verified guide data. But obviously it's a big process to get there. And so essentially like for anything that isn't verified currently, it's kind of just in this like state of unverified, which means that it's essentially a name and a grade, and that's sometimes attached to a location and then sometimes has a beta video attached. And so we're psyched too for that information to live in the platform. And like if a climb exists, we want to kind of have it cataloged, and we kind of by default don't include GPS information for anything that's not like author verified out of fear of like blowing up something that's access sensitive or
Yeah,
closed.
for sure.
But yeah, we definitely like want to have all of those obscurities in there as well, for sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. I dabbled with like the idea because one of the big things that I found that Beta Cache wasn't good at was being like, okay, I found a really cool climb. What else is around here so that I can like bring my friends or my wife or someone who climbs at a different level who's not going to try this exact climb? Like, how can I find other climbs on this boulder or in this area so that I know if that's good? And that was one thing that I was like, this is like I can't. I tried several times to like start working on that, but it just became too monumental and I just had to back away. But that's something that like I think Kaya does really well that I would be psyched to see kind of integrated into Beta Cache.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's really we've in the last few months kind of integrated some more advanced filtering. And so now you can kind of like adjust all of your filters of like your grade range or quality range, whatever. And then it will sort of like live update on the map. So it can be pretty helpful for
Yeah.
identifying like exactly that use case where you're saying, I'm wanting to climb on this boulder and I'm looking for something nearby it that fits certain criteria for my friends or my partner.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And then I dabbled with other things over time that people would suggest, like, oh, can you tag things as short beta or tall beta or this or that? And I tried all that and it was too much again. So I don't know if you guys have tried anything like that, but
yeah, well, actually, so there are websites out there like Betty Beta and things for Font and Blue, which are
yeah,
specifically for women. But we part of the benefit of having folks upload videos directly into Kaya is that everyone's profile kind of has their biometric data attached to it.
yeah,
So within and this is only really super valuable if there's a ton of beta videos. But for instance, you can go to Wheels of Fire in Joe's Valley, which maybe has 200 beta videos from the
yeah.
community uploaded directly into Kaya. And you can actually filter the videos by size and reach. So you can
Nice.
say, okay, I want 5'3" to 5'6" with a +2 wingspan and find exactly the beta for you. So that
Yeah.
does exist. And I think it's a little bit of a hidden feature that folks don't always necessarily realize that you can utilize. But we do have a lot of women who love the platform for that very reason, and just for I think women can like more reliably find beta from other women on Kaya, which is a really nice feature.
Nice. Well, that's cool. I mean, those are the things that like in my pipe dream, that's what Beta Cache would have ended up as. And so I'm glad that like to be handing it off to someone who has the capacity to like see those things through and make it as good as it could be. So yeah.
Yeah, and then I mean, kind of another conversation, but ultimately, like I have this vision for like different sizes can drastically impact grade, but we all kind of like conform to this male like average size grading,
Yeah.
but like encouraging folks to log on with more like personal grades so that I think over a long period of time we would see like, oh, actually, if you're below 5'8", this climb is just 3 grades harder or
Yeah.
whatever. And that could kind of like lead to a more holistic, fair grading scale for that's kind of like applicable to everyone, regardless of their size.
Nice. Yeah. So kind of like taking some of the 8A style stuff, but maybe a little more personalized.
Yeah, well, I think people kind of have been like fearful of taking personal grades for whatever reason. Or, you see women all the time say, this V6 was incredibly hard for me. I normally climb V10, but it was just hard for me because
Yeah.
I'm small. But they don't upgrade it really. They just kind of set
Accept that.
for
Yeah.
V6. But I think that, and vice versa. You may have like a small child climb a really crimpy problem that their hands fit into more easily and they take V13, even though it might have only felt V6 for them. And so I
Yeah.
think we could, and this is like, yeah, a longer term thing for us, but I personally think it'd be great to encourage people to just be like, how did this feel to you? And
Yeah.
like be very honest. And then over time, I think we would see a little bit more transparency about like what grades are for different sized people.
Well, it's very ambitious and I wish you luck on that.
Yeah, it's certainly not like our primary business objective or anything,
Yeah,
but it's kind of a
yeah,
personal interest of mine. And
for sure. Yeah, yeah. Anything to clean up the kind of the mess that is climbing, grading, and such. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, sweet. I've just been scrolling Beta Cache on the side here, looking at the Grampians and how amazing every single climb in the Grampians looks. But
Yeah.
yeah, thank you so much for building Beta Cache and for bringing so much effort and passion to this kind of, data cataloging that we're also very psyched on at Kaya. And thanks for being willing to kind of pass on the torch. We're gonna do our best to make it incredible and a great resource for everyone. So
Cool.
yeah,
Yeah, hopefully there's not too much bad data in there. I mean, there's going to be a decent amount that's like, oh, this is a video of something random, not the climb. So I tried to get rid of as much of that as I could, but it's like inevitably it creeps up. And so
I
hopefully it's not too dirty of a database for you.
no, and I mean I think that the benefit of this massive catalog will far outweigh any sort of
Hopefully, yeah.
that.
Hopefully Mark feels that way and doesn't get too deep into it. And it's like, oh, this was a waste of time. What am I doing?
No, no,
Because the matching of the names is my biggest thing. It's like my biggest concern is like, how are you gonna like, oh, what if it's the mandala instead of mandala, or what if someone spells it Madela or something like that? And that part, I mean, even when I was just trying to port the data originally, because I kind of tried to clean everything up and redo it, but in order to do that, I had to basically match everything back up again. And even trying to just match up climb names was so difficult to do. So
yeah, I do anticipate there being quite a lot of duplicates, and fortunately, we have a user report feature, so I think that that will hopefully be helpful, and we'll do our best to kind of like get a good overview of it.
there's some of that in there. I had like the aliases so like never ending story and like unende, whatever it's said in French, but like that, some of that's in there, but obviously you can't catch them all. So, but yeah, cool. Well, good luck to you guys. Let me know if I can help at all.
Yeah, thanks so much, Josh. Appreciate
Yeah,
you.
cool. Let me know if you need anything else.
Okay, bye-bye.